Greetings from the Arcturians. President Trump, the Arcturians want to talk to you. Your star family wants to talk to you. So why won't you come in and talk to us? Because they're saying, the Arcturians are saying, you're making all the wrong decisions. Because you've got the wrong people advising you. You've got the wrong advisors around you. Because first we had to advise you to not play Machiavelli with the Russian President Putin, because that's what your NATO military general was advising you to do. And we told you that that was the wrong advice, that that was the wrong way to go about things with Russia and with the Russian President Putin. And now, what are we looking at? Now we're looking at what you're doing with the Gaza situation, with the Palestinians. What are you doing? Who's putting you up to that? Who's advising you on that? On Gaza and Palestine? And the Arcturians are also saying that you are making all the wrong decisions, especially when it comes to Muslims, the Muslim world, the Muslim countries, and the Muslim territories. And they're giving me Iran or Iran right now as well. So we have, Palestine, we have Iran or Iran, and we also have Syria on the table right now. Now, regarding Iran, I did see something on the news, like a news headline, and maybe I actually I went into it and heard that news video clip a little bit briefly. And it was something like the Iranians have been trying to assassinate you, and your response to that is that if that happens, then Iran will be obliterated. Now, I can understand your sentiments on that, because if anyone was trying to assassinate me, I'd feel the same way. I probably wouldn't go as far as trying to obliterate them, but as I said, I can understand your sentiments on that. We can understand your sentiments on that. But isn't that a bit too extreme? I mean, this is what I don't understand, and this is what we don't understand. Why is there no dialogue happening? Or why is there no dialogue at all in existence? Like, why is there no dialogue between the West and Muslim countries? Why? Why is no one talking to each other when it comes to the West and the Muslim countries? You just want to kill each other and wipe each other out? Is that your strategy? Is that your solution, especially when it comes to the Muslim world? I don't understand. Well, actually, the Muslim world or any Muslim country couldn't really wipe out any Western country because they simply just don't have the power. But just because the West has the power, does that mean that the West should be abusing that power? No. Just because you have the power and just because you can, that doesn't mean that you should. Because that's abuse of power. And we gave you the message regarding ISIS wanting to talk. Now the Arcturians are telling me that you are in your thoughts about that, like you are in your head about that, like you're still mulling it over. And also, I was watching another news clip in the last few days, briefly, in which you said that you don't want to get involved in Syria. Well, you're already involved. Not you personally per se, President Trump, but the US government, America is already involved in Syria, because why do you have the US troops stationed in Syria? If you're not involved, or if you don't want to get involved, you are already involved. Joe Biden, the ex-US president, Joe Biden, involved the US government and Americans in Syria. So, you're already involved. The question now is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to try and clean up Joe Biden's mess that he's created in Syria, involving the US, America, and the US government? That's the question. The question is not about whether you want to get involved in Syria or not, because you already are. Americans are already involved in Syria. That's not the question. The question now is, are you going to be able to, and are you going to be willing to clean up Joe Biden's mess in Syria? Or are you just going to ignore it? And what good would that do? Oh, I don't want to get involved in Syria. What good would that do? Or you saying, I don't want to get involved with Syria. What good would that do now? When you or the US government is already involved. Now, I know, and we know, and the Arcturians are also telling me that, because I haven't been watching the news for the last however many years. So I know, and we know, and the Arcturians are telling me that you, President Trump, you did not do this. You did not get involved in Syria or with Syria. But Joe Biden did. The ex-US president, Joe Biden, did. This is Joe Biden's mess in Syria that we're looking at and that you're looking at. We know that. I know that. We know that. But now that the mess is there, who's going to clean it up? Because now you're sitting in the president's seat of power. And now I'm hearing about your decision on Gaza and the Palestinians. Now, one of the news headlines I saw regarding Gaza, maybe it was yesterday, and that news headline used the word own. And that news headline said something, President Trump, something like, now I'm going to paraphrase, something like, you, President Trump, you want to go in, own it, own Gaza, and build it or rebuild it. Now, this word, own, or owning, or ownership, is what's not sitting well with me. And it's not sitting well with the Arcturians, your star family either. And we are Arcturians as well. We are your star family too. We are your soul family, your soul tribe as well here. I am your soul family, your soul tribe too, because I am Arcturian too. And part of the 144,000. We both are. Part of the 144,000 mentioned in the Bible. We both are. Now, back to your decision on Gaza. The word own, owning, or ownership. That is unsettling. It's not sitting well with me. It's not sitting well with us. Because isn't that what Israel has been trying to do for the last, what, how many, 50 years or something, for the last half a century or something? And how has that been going? What did that do? Now, in today's news, I'm looking at the headlines and they're using the term take over. Is there any difference? Is there a subtle difference between ownership and or take over? Because I don't know. Do you want to own Gaza like Israel? Or do you want to take over Gaza? But for how long? Is that going to be a temporary takeover? Or are your intentions more towards taking over Gaza permanently, like Israel? So then, what's the difference between Israel and America? What is America or your government doing that is different from what Israel has been trying to do for the last 50 years or so, or for the last half a century anyway? So then what is America doing different? If you're trying to do the same thing as Israel, that means you're trying to repeat the same mistake as Israel. Who's advising you on this? President Trump? This is the wrong advice. Because why would you want to repeat the same mistake as Israel with Gaza and with the Palestinians? And what about the Palestinian people? Has anyone asked them what they want? They want freedom. They did not want Israel owning them or taking them over. Why would they want America owning them or taking them over? Why would they want America doing the same thing to them? It's like, where's your common sense? Even. Or whoever is advising you. But then again, you should have... President Trump. Shouldn't you be using your common sense here? The Arcturians are telling me right now that the Palestinian people do not feel good about the Americans taking them over either. So then why are you repeating the same mistake as Israel with the Palestinian people? And not just the Palestinian people and the people of Gaza. I'm looking at a BBC News headline here from 20 hours ago. It says, Palestinians and Arab states reject Trump's Gaza takeover plan. So it's not even just the Palestinians. The Arab states are rejecting it too, are rejecting your takeover plan too. Are you going to take their sentiments into consideration at all? I guess not, because you've already done it, right? Single-handedly. No consideration for anyone else. No consideration for the Palestinians. No consideration for any other Arab states or countries. You didn't think you needed to ask anyone's permission, huh? Or you didn't think that you needed to ask anyone. You didn't think you needed to ask even the Palestinians that you're trying to take over. You didn't think you needed to ask the people even that you're trying to take over. What, by force again? Just like Israel has been trying to do? How is that going to work? And again, just because you can? Just because you can, so you're going to do it. Isn't that abuse of power? What is it that you're not getting about this? I don't understand. You don't want to talk to anyone. You just want to go in, stomp in to another country or someone else's territory, and you just want to take over by force. Why? Why do you not want to talk to anyone? Why do you not want to open up a dialogue with the Muslim world and with the Palestinians? First, why do you not want to take into consideration their sentiments and what they want for themselves? And maybe then, if they allow you, maybe then go in and work with them, work with the people, work with the Muslim world, work with the Arab states, work with the Palestinians at the least that you're trying to take over, work with the Palestinian people at the least that you're trying to take over by force. Again, the same thing as Israel. You're not doing anything different there now, are you? You're doing the same thing as Israel. So then why would the Palestinian people welcome it when it's the same thing? So you don't want to have any consideration, any dialogue with the Palestinian people. You just want to go in and take over by force, just like Israel has been trying to do for the last 50 years or so, or for the last half a century. However long the Israel-Palestinian conflict has been going on. I think it's round about that. I'm guessing. And I actually just wanted to check, and I'm looking at Google. Israeli-Palestinian conflict timeline. And here it's saying the Israeli-Palestinian conflict dates back more than a century even, with flashpoints building from the United Nations 1947 initial UN partition. So this has been going on, or this is dating back more than a century even. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict dates back more than a century. Wow. And I guess, of course, the last half a century has been just filled with this conflict and tensions. Palestinians were alarmed by the demographic change and tensions rose, leading to the Palestinian revolt from 1936 to 1939. History of the question of Palestine. In the 1967 war, Israel occupied these territories, Gaza Strip and the West Bank, including East Jerusalem. History of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict traces back to the late 19th century, when Zionists sought to establish a homeland for the Jewish people. Key events in the Israel-Arab and Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'm looking at the years 1897 to 1947, pre-state Israel. 1947 to 1979, Arab-Israeli wars. What is all this? Well, that's the history of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And even the tensions with the Arab states. I don't know. I don't know the history, you know. I just know what I've heard of. The Israeli-Palestine conflict is one of the world's most enduring conflicts, beginning in the mid-20th century. Okay, well, it's been going on for a long time. That's the bottom line. Whether it's been going on for half a century or whether it's dating back to more than a century by now. And this is what we are still doing. We are still repeating the same mistake. Wow. 100 years, a whole century, or even more than a century. And we are still repeating the same mistake. We are still stuck on an old record, stuck on repeat. How is that gonna help moving forward? President Trump, you do not need to make the same mistake as Israel. You do not need to repeat the same mistake as Israel. We are here to advise you better. If only you will consider our advice. The Arcturians, your star family, wants to advise you over everything. We are here to advise you over everything. But I guess you're not open to that. Oh, and of course the Arcturians are saying, especially when it comes to the Muslim countries and the Muslim territories, especially wherever there is conflict and war, or just long-term, long-standing tensions between the West and the Muslim world. The Arcturians are saying right now, please consider us and come to us for advice, especially when it comes to the Muslim world, the Muslim countries, and the Muslim territories, especially wherever there is conflict and tensions. Please come to us for advice. That's what the Arcturians are saying to you. That's what your star family is saying to you, President Trump. We're going to close out this message here. Take care. Over and out.